Where did that come from? Wow, that's better. Hello? Why is it doing this? Hello? There. Reverb is stuck on. I can't figure this. There. There we go. Now it's all normal. Holy smokes. Technical difficulties. I don't know why. We got Yoli in the house. And of course, I see the top fan purple boy. I am doing great. Good to be here. Had my state induced vacation, I guess you could call it. Andrew, good to see you. We got 16 people watching across all the platforms, which is Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and I believe that's Twitch. There could be. But it's good to see everybody. I would say the Roku thing, but it looked like it failed today. So I got my coffee. Aaron Rodgers signed a 1-day contract with the Packers. I think he's retiring. Good riddance. It's all quiet on the news front. It's so weird. Other than the stuff I reported last night, but none of it's Lions related. So ask away. Anybody wants to talk? I am willing to look it up. Here they come, the loyal YouTubers. I see we got 15 watching through Viking Rob's show. I'll even talk Vikings. I don't care. I just want to talk football. Tyreek Hill had a domestic dispute last night, but he wasn't arrested or charged with anything. What names do you want the Lions to draft, as if any? Stewart, Jackson, Green, the kid out of Boston College, Tuamalo, whatever his name is, that JT edge player from OSU. Yeah, Rogers on the crack again. He did the 1-day contract 2 days ago with the Packers. I believe that's a sign he's retiring. I could be wrong. Good to see you, Moonscar. There's a couple of guards out there that I see. Do you want the Lions to do any trades in the draft? Yeah, the Texas A&M rushers who I'm talking about. Uh, I don't. If they're going to try to get another big defensive tackle to be here a long time next to Aleem McNeil, the furthest I'd want him to go up is within the top 20. Rogers is retired, just no one has told him yet. Yeah, he hadn't had enough ayahuasca to make the announcement. Oh, oh boy. God first, family second. Detroit football. I just don't think moving up into the top 15 again. Because remember last time when we had the Rams pick after they won the Super Bowl, we traded up from 32 to 12, and it cost us 2 seconds and a third with the first that we had. So remember, it cost us the 34th pick, the next year's second round pick, the next year's third round pick, plus the 32nd pick to go to 12 to get Jamison Williams. And the reason why we traded up with Minnesota is that's who was on their board. Yeah, it was crazy expensive. Not really. Not to move up 20 spots, but to do that in the mid part of the draft, you're probably looking at 2 first rounds. Is more because it's more expensive to move the closer to the front you are, is what I'm getting at. He could have been the first 2 years. He was last year. That everybody was like, "Oh man, now he can't even get 1,000 yards." He got 1,000 yards, missing the 2 games. Imagine if that PED thing, if his doctor went through the right channels and notified the NFL, he'd have never served a suspension. Latest draft buzz 2 hours ago on the DetroitLions.com. Priority will be offensive line in the. Hey, I don't mind that at all. Drafting the BC edge. He had 16 and a half sacks. The only thing I worry about with him being a part of Boston College is in the ACC, the O lines weren't that strong except in 3 teams, and that's Miami, who actually didn't have that strong of an O line, Florida State, and the other one was Boston College. So they didn't even play. Yeah, and the NC State guy, he's okay, but most of your best trench players come out of the SEC. Thank you. Ken the Bear fan is in the background there with me. I appreciate him helping with the captions. So he's looking at Gray Zabel is one of the guys the Lions have targeted from North Dakota State. He's a he's a guard that can play center. And North Dakota State has a great offensive line coach over there. They put people in the NFL. Did Ken make any predictions of the Bears 10 wins again? We made the prediction that probably the lowest in our division will be 8 at the very minimum. Up to 12 is going to be the winner, and everybody's going to be in between. So we didn't say which team will end up where. So no, we didn't make those predictions yet. And if Ken wants to pop in, he can.
Real quick, Jay, could they win 10? Sure. Could they win 8? Sure. Could every team in the division be the same story like that? Yeah. I mean, the only team that was stable this offseason was the freaking Packers, right?
Right.
So everyone
They were
else had
the
some kind of changeover, be it with coaches or quarterback or whatnot. I said in the last show, I don't know if you caught that, JB. Take the 4 teams, put them in a hat, throw the hat in the air, and see what happens. Is where we're at this season.
and I kind of said the same thing last year, but at
Yeah.
the same time, right before the season, when I broke it down to what I said, I was pretty much exactly right.
I mean, look,
It,
after week 6, like what? Everyone was either 4-2 or 5-1. The division was cooking. Then the Bears go on an epic losing streak with bad coaching. And
we
I
went
was
on an epic winning streak with the Minnesota Vikings. I
yeah.
mean, it was crazy. It was so crazy. And the way we kept doing it when we had so many players out.
I mean, it's like last year I was joking, how are the Bears going to find a way to lose this week? Last year it was like, what magic is Darnold going to pull out of his ass in Minnesota? What's Detroit? What kind of how is Detroit going to overcome this injury or that injury or what? I
And
mean,
it just kept happening. That's the crazy
yeah.
thing. I mean, and it was the offense was fantastic. The defense was just okay because they didn't have enough to be stars. And I said this all season. I said, what did I start calling it after about the 4th week of injuries? Wasn't it Legion of Boom? Because we had so many practice players being signed and let go every week.
Yeah, it's this season, and like I'm and what makes it even worse about this season, and I hate to say this, but I'm tired of even talking about the draft 2 weeks out because honestly, this draft is the most for the
Yeah,
NFC, I'd say.
it's the
Is
Met. It's the Met draft.
yeah. It's just like there's nothing clear. This draft for the North is as clear as mud.
Right. Everybody needs trenches or wide receivers. That's what I see.
Well, it's not even like, well, no, it's not even that it's a clear and obvious need because, like, honestly, for every team in the North, you could draft any position but probably quarterback in the first round, and fans are going to be happy with it.
Except for maybe
If you,
Minnesota in the first. eh, Absolutely, I hear you.
I mean, like, okay, I don't expect.
For me, for the Lions, it's edge or guard.
Yeah, I mean, like, for
That's where
example,
I'm at.
though, in Detroit, if you drafted a tight end, a wide receiver, trenches, corner, safety, linebacker, you guys are fine. The only two positions I don't see, 4 positions I don't see you drafting be kicker, punter, quarterback, or running back in the first round. Everything else is open and the Lions could pick, get a good player, and you know what? Lions fans wouldn't be mad, right? As long as those 4 positions and you don't pick one of those 4 positions in the first round, everyone in Detroit's probably happy. It's that kind of draft. Like if they took a linebacker, they're like, okay. If you took a corner or a safety, you'd be like, okay. If you took trenches, you'd be like, okay, you got a good tight end. Sure, pair them up.
Yep.
It's
For
it's
me,
that kind of draft.
if it's trenches, I'm ecstatic.
Yeah.
I'm old school. I'm old school. You can never draft enough trenches. And everybody says, "Well, what do you mean by that?" I said, drafting your trenches in the first round, which is something that Brad Holmes has proved he'll do in the first like 3 rounds. You're usually getting an NFL caliber starter, and if you have starters on your roster, they don't have to play right away. That's a good thing.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. This draft is about as clear as mud. It's like, who knows what polls is thinking at 10. I know Sarah says, Sarah keeps pushing the Genty narrative. Who knows what the hell Brad Holmes, who knows what Quezzy's going to do? Who knows? Well, the only thing we know about Goody is he probably won't take a wide receiver for Green Bay in the first round, right? That's about all we got. I mean, I think they're all pretty unpredictable, and none of them have that glaring, oh my God, you've got to.
I got to go back to that.
Yeah,
Look at that, your coach.
Yeah. Someone made a funny account. That's good.
Yep, I know.
I don't think look at this tells you something about the NFC North. None of these teams have that glaring, oh my God, we have to get this position in the first round player right now. All 4 teams are in a position where they can draft the best available to fit their team today at virtually any position. Like I said, for Detroit, the only position I would not expect you to draft would be quarterback in the first round at least. Quarterback, running back, kicker, punter. For the Bears,
exactly. I mean, I hear you on that. I'm down to 3: quarterback, kicker, punter. That's it. That's the only ones that they wouldn't do.
I mean, yeah, I just don't see them doing running back. Well, I mean, I think that we think, say that 10 times real fast. We address that via free agency.
You traded for Jonah Jackson, correct?
Yeah.
And then you signed a center, and then you signed another guard tackle, correct?
Well, then we traded for Thuney, like a 4th round pick. So
yeah, Joe Thuney from the Chiefs.
So right? I mean, I would like more depth, but it doesn't mean I have to draft the guy in the first round at number 10. I can get depth in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th rounds, whatever. I mean, if we draft the O-line in the first, cool. But if we went tight end, cool. If we go running back, fine, I guess. If we go wide receiver, I'm good. If we go safety, fine. Corner, linebacker, sure. So there's a lot of areas where the Bears could draft I'm okay with. I mean, and I want more depth on the O-line.
All right, we're probably going to have Sarah join us shortly.
Yep. And Sarah, that's a permalink.
Oh, it's somebody that knows me personally because they're calling me out. Am I scared of Chicago? I'm not scared of any team in the North. Until you beat us, you ain't us. That's where I'm at. I think that's a fair way to think about it, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Until it happens, you
yeah,
don't get
and
scared.
it's not saying that, and he's not saying that the Bears aren't good or the Packers aren't good or the Vikings aren't good. But he's like, look, we're division champs, beat us.
Right. It's the same thing that the Packers told us for years. And you're right. Jay, you are right. If McCarthy plays well, Minnesota is a scary team. But that's the biggest question mark. Will he play well
Well, I
after
mean,
sitting a
all
year out?
McCarthy has to do is what he did at Michigan and game manage.
Right, because that's all he is as a game manager. He's Sam Darnold 2.0 until he develops in the NFL. That's
Yeah.
exactly what he is.
That's fair.
And I'm not trying to sugarcoat it, because he had Sam Darnold type of production at Michigan, just like Sam Darnold had in college.
Look,
Check downs, reads, and react. That's all he does. And his read and react wasn't great. It was just enough. I missed you too, Pat. And welcome, Sarah. Oh, I got that. There you go.
Jeremy, you were a Michigan fan, right?
Yes.
Okay, give me your honest take on McCarthy.
I think he needed another year in college before he had to go to the NFL. He has read and react mistakes. Him being out a year and not doing anything to address those mistakes in play may have those mistakes haunt him his rookie season. And that's as honest as I can be with you. I think he has the potential to be a solid NFL starter, a good game managing quarterback. He isn't the most athletic. He isn't anything great outside of he knows how to throw a football.
I mean, but look at
is that a fair assessment for you?
He is set up for success.
He had a lot of team success.
Right,
so look at his numbers.
In Minnesota, the same way. Like, okay, he is set up more for success for his first year as a starter than Caleb was. Because Caleb had no O-line, had shitty play calling. He's going to a team that's well coached. Their O-line does need work in Minnesota, no doubt. But he is set up for success where he could make a Super Bowl as a first-year starter. He could. They've set him up for success. If he game manages, there is no reason he can't replicate what Darnold did last year. The question's going to be, is unlike Darnold, who folded under pressure, how will JJ do under pressure? And that's what we have to find out.
I don't think that's good for him. And I think Aaron Rodgers is retiring. He's all but announced it. He did the one-day contract 2 days ago with Green Bay. And usually when players are over 40, especially quarterbacks, kickers, punters, and they go back to the team they were drafted to for a one-day contract, that's so when they make the announcement, they are with the team that drafted them 9 times out of 10. Yeah, he agrees.
I think he is gonna wait it out and see if a contender loses their quarterback in preseason, and then I'm unretired.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the Minnesota Tom Brady type of retirement. He's going to announce it. He's never going to file the paperwork.
Right.
And Jay, I'm not saying it's necessarily the Vikings, but I'm just saying any team that has a roster that can contend, if they lose their quarterback, he will, he's going to get a call because he's going to be the best quarterback option for a contending team.
Right. And here's the crazy thing. Let's go back to Tom Brady, right? He wins the Super Bowl with Tampa Bay, and then he announces his retirement. And that was when we had no clue that there was any problems between him and Giselle at that time, remember?
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's home for 2 months. He misses almost all of training camp, because he missed the OTAs, the rookie camp. When the quarterbacks report, he missed the quarterback practice with the wide receivers. And all of a sudden, this is what I think happened. He's sitting there with his paperwork at the coffee table. Giselle's like doing her little nitpick, and I made more money than you. You got to do this, this, and this. The kids are driving him crazy. And he said, fuck them kids. I'm going back to the NFL.
I don't know if I would. I don't know if I'd call the Packers, the Bears, or even Minnesota Midland. I think it's just that we play in a very tough division. a very competitive division. I would think Detroit and Chicago both have questions around coaching because their new coaching trees or new coaching staffs for their respective teams this year. But I will say this, Detroit does have a very good motivator in Dan Campbell, so that's going to help mitigate.
And our defensive coordinator, Calvin Shepard, has been here the entire time. So he knows the system and the players.
And the Bears did bring in a bunch of quality coaches, but let's see how they mesh.
Right, because you brought in a lot of quality assistants. None of them. I think only your offensive coordinator had coordinator experience. Is that correct?
No, it was our defensive coordinator.
Okay, I knew it was one or the other. That's what I'm saying.
We got a good DC.
Was the head coach.
Yeah, we got a good DC, but we brought in for the position coaches and stuff some some good quality coaches, right? I mean, but it's going to be the same problem in Chicago as Detroit, and is how do these coaching staffs that have been put together now mesh, and how does the play calling go for those respective teams? Because both teams have a lot of talent.
I'm going to tell you right now, Andrew Merklinger, with our quarterback room, if we draft Milroe in the first round, there's going to be a riot in Detroit.
But you have a hooker.
Right. We already have Hendon Hooker. We have Kyle Orton, who's done nothing. Or Kyle Allen, excuse me.
I was going to say, Kyle Orton.
You and Darren invoke the neck beard. That's my job.
I forgot. But Kyle Orton was just a bad facility of Eric Hipple. He was the first neckbeard.
I don't know. Milroy gives me Anthony Richardson vibes.
I mean, like, I think that I would not rule it out of the realm of possibilities that Detroit takes a quarterback in the second or third round. I would not. And they could take one for multiple reasons. One, they don't think Hendon Hooker is going to be a good backup or ever start in the league, and that experiment's going to end shortly. Or they think that Goff, they might exercise the out after this next season if he doesn't do anything. Because, I mean, sorry, Motown Mitch, if you're watching. Yeah, his numbers are great, but like Dak, like Cousins, what are you winning for me?
When that contract was signed, what did I say there, Ken? What was
you gave the 2-year out. Yeah.
It's 2 years Super Bowl a bust.
Yeah.
There's an out. And yeah, it only saves $5 million.
I mean, yeah, well, I mean, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying, Broski, like, they could get one in the second round, because if you took one in the first round, they might have a riot because, oh my God, you're trying to get rid of Goff already, and he's got his faithful, like Motown Mitch. But if you take one in the second round, you can disguise it as, well, we're just making, look at Hendon's he's not it. We need a better backup.
Here's the thing. I don't think they'll pick one before Hendon Hooker's pick. I don't think they'll pick one before the third round. Because Hendon Hooker was picked, 12th pick of the third round that year, if I remember right.
Dart's available, maybe. I mean, look at it.
I don't think Jackson Dart falls past the second round. I think he's going to go to one of those second-tier needy teams where they have an aging quarterback and they need somebody to come in. He can take over the next season. He'd be more than likely to go to like LA or something like that. You know what I'm saying there?
I mean, but like, I wouldn't put it past the Lions to trade up in the second round to get Dart. It depends where it is in the round. Like, if you're like 5 or 6 picks in the second round and he's still sitting there, they might take a shot at it.
I don't think Dart makes it out of the first round. I think he's going to be in the first round, but at the end of the first round, where a team goes back up.
I think he goes to the Steelers.
That would make sense.
So Aaron Rodgers didn't announce on Pat McAfee last night?
No.
No. He didn't announce anything. But the whole thing about signing a one-day contract with the Packers, it's a trend that we've seen in the NFL.
I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that he signed the one-day contract.
I got the notification. He signed a one-day contract 2 days ago.
But how did that not break anywhere?
Yeah.
He has very good PR people that keep things hush hush. That's why.
Even Packers fans don't know that.
Yeah, I know. And what's funny is it came up on my Google feed immediately. Get this. Aaron Rodgers resigns at the Packers.
Man, I don't care. Not my problem to worry about.
It's a 1-day contract. Guess who else signed a 2-year contract with the Packers? A guy that has catch problems. Alan Lazard.
For real?
No,
Yeah,
he's staying with the Jets.
it just said in that article, it talked about Lazard going back to the Packers too.
I
just saw the Bleacher Report that he just signed with the Jets.
Okay. Jalen Mildew, Jackson Barton, Quinn Seward. He's like me. He doesn't like any of the quarterback. I don't even like the first two in this draft. The first two that everybody's talking about, I don't like either one of them. If you look at the numbers, Cam Ward put up some great numbers at two different schools. The problem is they're system schools. So you don't know, because of the trend of system quarterbacks, there's very few that come out of a system and are successful right away. One of them being Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, here we go. 3 hours ago from the AP, I'm bringing up the article. Alan Lazard signed a contract.
Why does he get all the hate? Because of the treatment of Arch Manning. I'm just going to be honest. That's why people hate him. Arch Manning was supposed to be the second coming of Peyton Manning, starting from freshman year all the way through college.
Wow.
What we heard. And
Lazard took an $8.5 million pay cut to stay with the Jets this year. He's going to make $1.75 million.
Wow.
I don't even know why they're paying him. He didn't do shit.
It's right on Google. It's on NFLnet.com. I saw it this morning.
And as of 3 hours ago, they're still talking about Rodgers waiting until after the draft to sign with the Steelers because he wants to wait and see what they do in the draft. Nothing about Rodgers, though, signing a one-day contract.
I don't think he's even signing after the draft. I think he's
JB, you might want to check your source there. That source may be. Look, Bill is even like, no.
I was looking at it just 2 hours ago.
Yeah, but sometimes Google has like these because I've seen Google post like these like fake headlines too from like the
it was on NFL.com is where I had it at 2 hours ago, and now it's gone.
Yeah, that was a fake report probably.
Well, maybe even the NFL has to watch what they put out. Because I got the notification this morning. It woke me up. I was like, holy shit, what?
I mean, it's that time of year we're going to get some of these clickbaity headlines that will sneak through.
You usually don't see that through NFL and ESPN is what I'm getting at.
But they do happen, though. They're not immune. But Lazard took a big pay cut to stay with the Jets. Wow. Crazy.
Who's going to be throwing him the ball?
Justin Fields.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to be throwing him the ball?
Well, look, if he can get long, Justin can hit it. We'll see if Justin gets better with this short and medium game.
Sorry, Ken. I have no faith in Justin.
I mean, look, for Fields, this is a make or break contract, right? This is where you're either going to be a career backup or you're going to reassert yourself as a starter.
And that's why you shouldn't have gone to the Jets.
No, he should. I agree with you there. He should have gone to Miami. That would have been a perfect place for him to go because you're going to get Tua's going to get hurt. You're going to get game time, and that team suits him.
The team that you do not want to go when you're in make or break is the Jets.
No, he didn't go from 11 mil to 8.6. He took an $8.6 million pay cut and is making 1.75 this year with Lazard. Reread that article. I just read it. I mean, that's a big pay cut. But hey, you know what though? Smart. Hey, you can say what you want to say about Lazard. He's smart because he knows if he wants to make any money at all this year, that's that. Yeah. But you know what though? Those pennies are better than zero. You know what I mean? So somewhat smart on Lazard's part.
To them, it's like, but to us, it's like, oh, poor dude, he's only going to be making $1 million. Fuck him.
Yeah. I'm sure he's got some incentives that might make that even worth more in there. But right now, the dollar amount's worth
like, honestly, I think the Vikings, the Lions, and the Packers are all trading down because they don't really have needs that they need to fill that they can afford to trade down.
If I don't know, it depends. If the Bears, it depends on what's going to be available at 10. Like, if it's Genty, I think they trade down because, like, if let's say the Cowboys want him or something. But if like Tyler Warren, I think they take.
You're moving up to 4 to take Genty. That's the script.
Yeah.
But other than that, there really isn't a lot of news out there. It's all back and forth stuff.
Yeah, it's that like that's why I hate when we have such a long gap between free agency and the draft. I get it. The teams need the time to prepare with the combine and the pro days and the 30 visits and all that. But it's like, God, can it happen quicker, please? Can we make this time shorter?
Wasn't the draft last year like beginning of April?
No.
It
was the same time last year.
Yeah.
Really? I swear I thought it was at the beginning of April.
Remember, I was there.
No, I'm just saying, like, I swear I thought it was at the beginning of April.
Matter of fact, I think it was the first weekend in May.
No, it was April because I was on my way to Colorado to check out the property I bought.
It was either one of the last 2 weekends in April, or it was the first weekend in May.
It's always the same weekend in April every year.
No, I can't afford to go there, Bill. Am I excited? I'm quite sure the Packer fans are very excited to see the draft there. I mean, who wouldn't?
No,
Will they draw 700,000 people on the first day?
You never know. I mean, I think it's cool what the NFL is doing by moving the draft around the different cities instead of just being in New York. I think it's kind of cool that they are, highlighting franchises around the NFL with the draft. I think it's pretty cool.
We've never had a draft.
Next year you will.
I mean, in our city.
Yeah. This year's Green Bay. Next year it's in Minnesota.
No, it's Steelers.
I thought it's coming to Minnesota soon. I heard it was Minnesota next year.
It's Steelers.
Well, I mean, the cool thing is they're moving it around the league, so it'll eventually come to you. Oh, by the way, Bill, since you bring up the draft show, yeah, I will be on an airplane once again this year, this time flying to a wedding in Maryland. So I will not be around for the draft show. I'll be on an airplane. I have a wedding that weekend. Just it wouldn't be me if stuff like that didn't happen. I tell you. Paul says he thinks that you guys trade up for Grant. And yeah, Bill confirms it's the Steelers next year.
Yep.
A good buddy of mine from the Army. So an army buddy of mine. So yes, I'll be in a tux. Yeah, last year.
I plan on helping. I might be in and out that day. I have a couple of networks that have asked me to help. I normally do my own, but we're going to be live on Roku at that time. And I can't go live with multiple places at the same time and run my own show. So I'm not going to run day one on my own. So day one, I'm going to be a part of the Huddle Sports Network. I'm going to be also a part of the Open Mic Network that I do on Tuesdays. And I'm going to be bouncing back and forth between you two. And I will be there for the announcement of the Detroit pick when it's made on Huddle Sports Network, because that is my home network.
Yeah, I think the draft in Green Bay is going to be interesting. 700,000 people for Green Bay. I think that would fill the city. Green Bay doesn't even have that many people that live there, do they?
No.
I have no idea. I just know that there's lots of bars and lots of cheese.
There's really not that many bars. If you want to talk about a city that has lots of bars, it's right here in Michigan. The only city that is second to bars per capita in the world is Bay City. And for number one is Madison, Wisconsin. Did you guys know this?
Good old Madison.
Madison, Wisconsin, the college town, has the most bars per capita of any city in the entire world. And second place is in Bay City, Michigan, the gateway to the north.
I had fun time in Madison back in my college days.
No, I think Green Bay's population is 105,000, so I doubt they're going to put as many people at the draft as Detroit did.
No, because there's no lodging. They don't even have enough lodging to host that much people.
Frickin' broski. Watch it rain during the draft and turn into fudge stock.
Green Bay has bars per block. Okay, well, let's put it this way. Green Bay actually has a higher population than Bay City. Green Bay has 56 bars. That's a lot, right?
Hey, JB, look, in Green Bay, you work for one of two organizations. You either work for the Pack or you work for a bar, period.
But I'm talking about in Metro Green Bay. I know exactly what it is, and the surrounding suburbs. I'm trying to get here. In downtown Bay City, there are 68 open bars and a population less than 19,000.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Your mic is getting a little hot there. It's really making a lot of noise, Sarah. Your mic was like, yeah, that's better. It sounded like it was going
I had my finger over the speaker. Sorry.
That's what it was. It was going.
If it rains in Green Bay, I guess they can move the draft to the Walmart.
But I think if they're going to do it right, because they have to build something close to the stadium. That's the only parking lot where it'll be big enough to actually.
Yeah, but it's all residential. What are they going to build? They can't build nothing.
No, they're doing it. They're doing it in the fan experience area, which is a good place for it. No, I mean, or they're using the parking lots for the stadium as well. I mean, look at Green Bay. Yeah, it's logistically a challenge for the NFL, given the size of Green Bay, but they can get it done with the way Green Bay is. But I still think, even if it's smaller than Detroit's, I don't really care. I mean, that's not like a stat I care about. It's just, to me, it's cool that they're highlighting NFL franchises by holding the draft at a different franchise every year. It's kind of like the New York thing was okay, but now it's like, you're coming to different cities where fans who, let's face it, a lot of Green Bay fans who live in Green Bay were never going to go to New York for a draft. Now a lot of them can go to the draft. And when I was in Chicago, same thing. If they have it down in NOLA, hey, it's right in my 2.5 hours from me. I might be able to make it easily. I mean, I think it's great because it expands the draft experience to all these different fan bases. Sure, it's one fan base at a time per city, but it's a good thing for the NFL.
It is a good thing for the NFL, and it's a great thing for the fans. I mean, because when it was in New York every year, very few fans of every team attended the actual draft because it was indoors.
Yeah.
Well, and it brings income to the city that needs it, like these small cities.
Oh, exactly.
And Detroit needed it at the time.
Yeah.
The amount of money that went through Detroit was insane. It was great to sit outside on day 3, like 2 hours before the draft, and I had like the chief of police of the Metro City Police Department and one of the squad leaders there, and I got all sorts of details that no one knew. We all knew what the gate recorded for tickets because that was announced, right? While there was 300,000 people the first day in there was another 785,000 people in Metro Detroit for the draft.
Yeah.
Between when the game ended at Comerica Park and the way they opened up Ford Field for people to watch it, plus all of the watch parties at all the bigger bars in metropolitan Detroit.
Well, and then you got all the hotels are making money from media, players, other fan bases who are coming in for the draft. Because think about it. People came in from Chicago. It's not that far. People came in from Cincinnati. It's not that far. So
there's people there from Green Bay.
Yeah, it's close enough for other fan bases to travel in the region. So Green Bay, you're going to have fans from Minnesota, Chicago, probably Indianapolis. They're all going to drive in. It's not that bad of a drive.
Yeah, Cleveland, Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Nashville. Even there was people from Pittsburgh and Philly that was there.
Yeah. So,
And
I mean,
my boss, the publisher, they flew in from Florida.
Yeah, it opens up for the area. It's a nice boon to the area financially. But it's once again, though, it's a great way for the NFL to showcase the different teams in the league. You know, in the process, instead of just it makes it less of just the conference room kind of draft and turns it into an event.
Right.
So
especially these smaller teams that are in small markets, it gives them exposure that they'll never get.
Right. Yeah. And I'm agreeing with you.
I mean, it's like, you know, when it's going to help. I mean, Broski's going to enjoy it when they finally come to Carolina. You know, you can go to the draft and make fun of the Panthers. And, you know, I mean, it's good that they're doing this. And I like it. So the problem just is I just wish we'd go have a faster flash the bang from free agency to the draft. But I understand why it can't happen. But
because of the mid-level moves that nobody pays attention to. You know, because technically free agency is still going on. There's just no major moves being made. That's
it's all done in the first 3 days for the most part.
I mentioned that yesterday with all of us here. Remember that? It's like being in the shooting ducks in the barrel type of shit. Bang, 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 bang for 48 to 72 hours. Then all of a sudden it flatlines for like a week. And then you see a couple of mid-level moves. Oh, both of them muted at the same time. They must all have phone calls.
Hey, grandbaby removal services from the car has been requested. I have a grandbaby retrieved, so I may be back or I may not. But thank you, JB, and just keep me up. I'll turn the mic off. I'm gonna go grab the grandbaby, and
I'm just gonna put you in the backstage for now, and then when you get back, unmute. So it's just me and Sarah, and she's got it on mute.
I'm using the bathroom.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to announce anything. I promise. Oh, goodness. And yes, I do call you the Vi Queen fan. I notice I don't say queens because I don't mean the team. You are the Vi Queen fan. I say that as a term of respect to you. Oh, coffee tastes good today. So, if there's any more questions out there, I know you addressed Andrew Merklinger addressed the drafting of a QB.
All right, I'm back.
The Vi Queen fan. Notice how I say it. As in your queen of the Viking fan.
Most days.
Yeah. Yeah. You are the Viking queen when you're facing off against Tim Isaacson, though.
Yeah.
I knew I'd get that reaction out of you.
You know, I made him so upset. He made a video calling me out.
I know. It was funny. But,
which is weird.
I want to say thank you to everybody who's watching. Bill, thank you for calling that out. But it was there this morning. I swear on my son's grave. And I don't make that announcement lightly. No one would.
No, I think like it was probably a missed post. That's why they removed it right away.
Well, it was up like overnight. I saw it. I was like, oh, I must be dreaming. And then I woke up and it was still there. That's why.
Like whenever I tweet on Twitter, I don't know why, but like in my head, I'm writing something out, and then I hate the thing I hate about X is you can't go back in and edit your post unless you pay for it.
That's why I didn't post it. I didn't post it because, like I said, I could have been dreaming.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, and so then like I'll
you know what I mean,
something, and then see the tweet, and it's like, what the fuck was I writing? What the hell?
No. I appreciate being called out when I see nothing. when I seen something and then nobody sees it, there was a. There you go. I just I must have did it at the same time. Oh, you have to unmute it. I was trying to unmute you.
Yeah, I was just saying, when Sarah was in the bathroom, that's where all good thoughts happen.
It is.
Game egg. Lions 30 visits. I talked about the 30 visits yesterday. I went through the entire list. I think that was right when Ken hopped in yesterday, because I was here by myself at the time. That was the first thing. Sarah's picture of a Bears fan. Yeah, that is how they look most of the season after the first 4 games.
What can I say?
I just don't know. We're gonna lose.
I have a sleeping grandbaby on me, so I'm just gonna let that slide.
I know. I'm just picking. You know I'm playing.
I love that show though.
What are my thoughts on DeMarcus Walker? He's a nice depth piece. He stays healthier than Marcus Davenport. I'm good with it.
I think I should get credit for coining that Davenport.
You do.
Now I got
you get credit
to say it.
Yeah, I know. I've said Davenport. Okay, Ken.
The thing I love about the 30 visits is everyone gets all hype about them, but how many times have we seen them draft a guy who they never did a visit?
The only thing is that the Lions draft 3 of them every year. So it's exciting to Lions fans. And that's been since Brad got here. We used to never draft anybody in the 30 visits before.
But I get it though, because like we have this whole month here where there's not much to report. So
right,
oh my God, a player visited it and it becomes big news. And it's like
I know last year we did a 30 visit with Dallas Turner, but I don't recall us doing a 30 visit with JJ McCarthy.
It's decent there, Moonstar. Davenport's funnier. What's up, guys? Late to the party. King SJ in the house. That's our buddy Stephen J. King out of Canada. And I will never call it Canada again, because Canada is known for it. The only time I'll say Canada from now on is when I sing that song from South Park. Claim Canada.
Davenport time.
I'm trying to get better at it. I'm getting used to it.
I'll let you go. I'll let you roll with it.
I feel like Davenport because he is goofy.
But no, because when he's on the field, he's good. The problem is he's never on the field. So Davenport, to me, was the best one. Davenport, because that fits. Because last year he was with the Vikings. I know that's why you started calling him Davenport, because he was healthy. I think it was by week 9, and he chose not to play.
Yeah, he is. F this. I'd rather just get a paycheck. Did you guys re-sign Mosley?
Thank God, no. Thank God, no.
Vildor?
Nope, Vildor's gone too.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm glad he's gone. I didn't want to keep him. I told you that. But when CD3 went down, we didn't have a choice. We had to use them, and it sucked.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting draft. Like this is like, I think the other thing about this draft where it's more accentuated the time. Last year there was so much buzz and excitement around the QB class that there was always something to debate, something going on. This class, it's like, you know.
You know, you got your top 2, Cam Ward and Shadur Sanders, but I like some of the mid players better.
But even
I do like Jackson Dart. I do like Will Howard, and there was another kid that Broski mentioned.
I mean, I guess they broke the hype train last year or something, but last year we had the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, we had some defensive ends, and this year it's like, yeah, they're good, but you know,
the problem is there's not a lot of top end talent at any of it. That's what I was getting at. It's all substance and no flash. We don't have the flash this year that we had last year. There's a lot of great substance players. Like there's a guy that I like out of Miami, and everybody talks about Cam Ward, but they don't talk about the most prolific wide receiver they've had since Michael Irvin went there. and that's Xavier Restrepo, the coach's son. Normally you say the coach's son, and it's not a big thing. How many edges do I think will fall to the second round? Probably 4 of the top 10, because I think only 6 of them are worthy of a first round pick. That's just my opinion. I'm talking about that specific room, the edge room, which is outside linebackers and defensive end.
And like,
So
there are not any centers. If you need a center in the first round, forget it. There's nothing.
No, there's like 4 tackles and 3 guards that are worthy of a first grade pick, if I remember right.
Yeah.
I think defensive players are going to go before offensive players after the quarterback.
Andrew, we got enamored with the Darius Robinson visit because of what happened at the combine, and then the visit at Allen Park, and the way he did interviews prior to the draft, with the draft being there. It sounded like it was a slam dunk. We were getting Darius Robinson, and then we traded up and got Terrion Arnold. But at the same time, I did say if we moved up, it would be less than 10 spots. I said we're not going past 19. I was adamant on that, and Ken heard me say it.
I think it's what's interesting though is, like, we see the combine, we see the visits, the video, them running routes, catching balls, whatever. The one thing we never see as fans or commentators is the interview process. And let's be honest, I think that's at least 50% or more of how these guys get drafted. And it's the part that when you guys ask, what do you think of this guy? What do you think of that guy? They're all good because they're on that consideration pool. The problem is we don't get to see how they are with management. Like when they ask questions like, a play recall, what do you think about this, or work, or the ethic, or any of that stuff. So like people are like, well, why were the Bears so enamored with Rome? Rome interviewed really well with them, said the right things, fits their mentality more than maybe some other players did. That's why they went with Odunze last year. So I think a lot of that has to go too. Like sometimes they'll go, yeah, the player's not gifted physically, but mentally he's better. And we don't see that mental part of the draft process. We really don't.
Right. We don't get to see that. We don't get to see lots of things, but at the same time, it's really nice when you actually get to see, like I got the inside the media room thing, because that's something the average fan doesn't get to do. And it was so crazy meeting who I met and all of them.
When does in-season Hard Knocks start?
That's what I was going to ask. When's in it? Because last year they did it with the Giants. Who's it this year, and when's it start?
Right, like he's right there. That second year when we drafted Hutchinson and Jamison Williams, we did get to see snippets out of that interview process with those guys.
Well, we got to see it in full force last year for the Giants. So I'm wondering if they're doing another season of that, and they haven't announced who the team is. It's about the time of year they announced that it was going to be the Giants last year, right? So
no, they announced the preseason one about now. They don't announce the regular season one, because remember the first 8 weeks it's still one team focus. It's mid-season. The mid-season on was when they did the 4 teams. They do it in 2 seconds.
I'm talking about the one that they're shooting right now for the draft. Last year the Giants did, what did they call the one for the Giants? Hard Knocks postseason, Hard Knocks something.
Hard Knocks preseason is what it's called.
Yeah, but that was the Giants for the draft. So I'm wondering what team this is about the time they announced it last year that the Giants were going to do it, because then the Bears announced it was like a month later, right, for camp. So I'm wondering who they're going to. And I love that Giants one they did last year, because you really got to see from the end of the season.
That was the first one that they did.
Right.
Draft, and then that the camp was separate. This is new, so we don't know when they're announcing it. They should have announced it already. They should have announced it already.
No, this is about they announced it right before the draft last year. So they'll probably announce the next week or two. I'm hoping they're doing it again, because I found that season to be so informative, like about the process, the stuff that we
after the Giants and Bears themselves, no team wants to be in that position. I don't think they're going to have one.
Well, the NFL can force it.
Stewart has meetings with the Pats and Bears, and he's also been here with the Lions. So
Yeah.
that's good. That means we're probably not getting him because you got teams that are over 20 spots ahead of us looking at him.
What would be a good team to watch draft this year? Carolina?
No.
I think I actually do think Carolina is, because of the way that Bryce Young played towards the end of the season after he sat those 3 weeks. Remember, because he got sat for 3 weeks, he came back and he was a different quarterback through the end of the season. They actually won more games than they started winning games because of him, not losing them because of him. You know, there was a big difference in how they played. So it would be they're going to be an intriguing one to watch.
I want to watch the Steelers.
That'd be a good one.
Because they have fewer holes. They have offensive line, edge opposite Brian Burns, or
but they got the biggest hole, quarterback, and that's what the league loves.
They don't have a hole at quarterback anymore.
The Giants are so intriguing because they lost Saquon, that whole piece, but then like you saw how they tried so hard to get a quarterback last year, but didn't do it. So the Steelers make sense this year with their quarterback issue too for the preseason, but they probably decided that in December. Because remember, they started shooting the Lions at week 18 through the draft. So they're already shooting whatever team it is.
Right. So, like I said, they should have announced it already because pretty soon they release it, is what I'm getting
I think they announced it like a week or two before the draft last year.
We are getting up against it. So, it is time for me to change here to something right here. I want to thank everybody for coming in. I want to thank Bill and all the other fans, and Andrew and Yoli, of course, for talking to us. I want to thank Ken for helping me moderate and do all that good stuff. But have a blessed day, everybody, and try every day to be a better person than you were the day before. That's the only way to make the world a better place. It starts right here. Much love, everybody.
This is a Huddle Sports Network.